Steve Perryman, got good engine. Martin Chivers up front, Martin Peters, Alan Gadzine, every one of them capable of scoring lots of goals, especially in the air.
And Alan, this was the Forest side that you faced.
Peter Hindley was a big right back, Dickie, when you saw. Bob Chapman was a strong centre-half, didn't give much away. Liam O'Kane, who'd been around in Brian Clough's time, you know, on the staff there. And Duncan McKenzie, the young Duncan McKenzie. Neil Martin, good centre-forward. Ian Moore, outside left, played for England for a period of time, played for Forest and Derby. Good player, good outside left, Ian Moore.
The Spurs then, who felt the whip at their back over the last few days since that disappointing performance in France, get us away, defend the goal to our right, and it's going to be very interesting to see, indeed, how they react to the verbal lashing they've had from Bill Nicholson. Certainly the opportunity is open to them against the team bottom in the First Division, with only one league win this season, Nottingham Forest. Eric Hume, the reserve goalkeeper, in because Jim Barron has still got a finger injury. England. Fraser in for Nottingham Forest. Moore, Fraser. Perryman. Finding Knowles. Mullery pouncing there in the middle of the field. Peters, a nice glided pass there to Peters, and a clip there towards Chivers, and a fraction too high for him only. Joe Kinnear. Crowd raising its voice there, trying a 1-2, and Kinnear going on, and Peters to drive one low. Kinnear still right in there, and finally belted away by Fraser. Martin following in quickly. Beale. And the free kick given to Tottenham. Out beautifully by Peters. Killed dead. Knowles still up there. The appetite for attack. Gilzine. Chivers jockeying for position there. And it'll come through unexpectedly. Oh, and a great save by Hume from Mullery. Magnificent save by the reserve keeper there. A good, quick snapshot by Alan Mullery. Quick change of direction, and he finds Neighbour. Perryman. Kinnear. And Perryman's gone sprinting around the outside of Kinnear, more as a dummy, a decoy. Chivers not quite reaching this one. Peters. Finding Knowles. Again, Spurs beginning to dictate it. Knowles this time looking for Gilzine. Gilzine with his head, and Peters! And that's the goal! And one that counts from Martin Peters with 20 minutes gone. Beautifully nodded down for him.
It's amazing it took 22 minutes to get the goal in the ball in the net,
We should have been 3 or 4-0 up by now. And Martin Peters, look, he just drifts in beautifully. You know, they used to call him the ghost at Tottenham, and he just drifted in that place without even sprinting. And the ball's knocked down to him. There he is, just knocking the ball in the back of the net.
He was good at that, Martin. Yeah, he'd drift in. He was quite capable of getting the ball in the air himself. But he had a very cool brain. Very intelligent player, Martin.
Beale in very quickly. Perryman to Peters. One to look for Chivers, but Bob Chapman completely in command of that situation. Beale getting up well. Kinnear chugging back quickly, and Martin going in too, and Beale once more getting Spurs out of trouble. Lyons trying to hit one first time. Chapman. Mackenzie. Neighbour. Beale to Jennings. Neighbour. Knowles. Good play by Knowles. He's really enjoying his game this afternoon. Neighbour now prepared to take on defenders. Chivers playing a beautiful 1-2, and Neighbours couldn't reach it, and neither could Chivers quite. But they were slicing great gaps through that Forest defence. Knowles planting a wide one there, a deep one. Chivers will hope to get underneath this one, and Forest under enormous pressure there. But now it's Robertson. Martin. Robertson. Perryman. Peters. and Neighbour. Peters has gone on the outside again. Beautifully played for him, and he is completely free. Chivers! Oh, a magnificent goal! Superbly created and brilliantly finished by Peters.
There was such power up front in that Spurs side, Bromley.
Yeah, they did. I mean, they were great in the air. You wonder what they would do today, because they would be really very difficult to play against. To be honest, the marking here is atrocious. They just give them all the space and all the time in the world, and you just can't do that against quality players. Some of the marking's awful. You can tell poor old Nottingham Forest, you know, they're down and they're looking, don't they?
What did Billy Neck say before the game, Alan? Go and enjoy yourselves?
No, I think we've got a rollicking, actually. Dick,
I'm just wondering why. Brian mentioned that.
Played particularly well before, you know, in the
see.
previous game. But the rollicking definitely did the trick, you know, the way we're playing in the first half. And it's a very good first half performance.
Perryman. Misunderstanding there between Gilseen and Kinnear, and Beale doing very well to stop Ian Moore in full flight. Philip Beale. Knowles. Perryman. Kinnear. Gilseen trying to dummy Chapman. And he might try again, and he's given a penalty. He's given a penalty, and the opportunity now for Spurs to go 3 ahead.
Well, I suppose this deserves a penalty, does it, Alan?
Well, he's fouled him in the box. I mean, Bob Chapman, he's gone one way. Gillies sold him a dummy. And about 30,000 people in the crowd as well went the wrong way. But Bob Chapman definitely, and Martin Peters, you know, he was expert at that. He could curl him in every corner.
Was he your regular penalty taker?
Yeah, well, if he got to the ball before me. Because I mean, I'll have to take penalties as well. But we used to fight each other for it.
3 goals in 5 minutes.
It's going to be a long match for Forest, isn't it? You see, when everything's going wrong, you're almost frightened to go in for a tackle.
Wow. And he's completed the save, but the Chivers couldn't quite get in. Good work there by Hume, saving the shot from Gilseen in the first place, and then scampering across to prevent Chivers having a free shot at goal in the second place. Straight to Chivers. Oh, and he stopped it with his knees, did Hume, and he was a very lucky young fellow indeed. What a terrible kick. Straight to Chivers of all people. Perryman. Beale. And now Chivers. And he's onside, he's all right. Off the post. Bad luck for Chivers. Gilseen trying to turn it back again for Chivers. And Chivers given offside. Well, it looked to me as though Chivers was behind Gilseen there, but the linesman was directly in line, and he had no doubts at all, certainly no doubts at all, that Chivers was desperately unlucky with that shot against the foot of that Forest post. And there, in fact, goes the whistle for half-time. Spurs well on top, and I suppose the thing that Forest and Eric Hume particularly can most hope for is that their appetite for goals might diminish in the second half. Goals by Martin Chivers, the number 9, and 2 by Martin Peters, one of them from a penalty. Away at the start of the second half. Forest, in fact, who've had only 1 win in their last 13 games, and that was against Aldershot, the 4th Division side in the League Cup. Certainly at the moment look as though they might add to that very unhappy record here at White Hart Lane this afternoon. 3-0 down. And England planting it back to Pat Jennings. Jennings, who really hasn't had a save to make so far in this game. That, in fact, could be the biggest evil for Spurs this afternoon, that they feel they've done enough already to win it. Which it may well be that they have. But Peters now to Mullery. Gilseen, nicely there for Peters. Squared again for Chivers. The chance was missed. Chivers prepared, though, to applaud Peters, who killed that ball and found exactly the right angle for him. Gilzine. Knowles. Perryman. Neighbour begging for the ball on this near touchline. And a lovely flighted ball there by Perryman. And now Neighbour. Just opening up before him. And Kinnear over on his right. Joe Kinnear now. Back once more to Neighbour. A chance to fire one. And miscuing badly. And Chapman completely in the clear himself. Could have let that gone for the goal kick. But I suppose to be absolutely safe, and he wasn't to know that perhaps somebody was lurking behind him, decided to play it safe and give away the corner, which Jimmy Neighbour's going to take. And England, again right up there. Mullery. Still Mullery looking for an angle for a shot, and getting one in! Alan Mullery, number 4.
What a goal, Bobby.
Well, I've got to hold my hands up. I mean, he doesn't score many, but when he does, they're not bad. Look at this, just wants a little bit more of a better angle, and in he comes, whack, inside the far post. What more can I say? Well done. Very good goal that was.
Well, that's marvellous, isn't it? From a goal
How did you celebrate that goal on the pitch? Did you run around and yell and shout?
No, I was quite sedate, actually, Dick.
Right.
Even though I didn't use to score them very often, I was quite happy with the goal.
But talking of body language, look at the Forest team. It tells you all, doesn't it, Alan?
I mean, they'd gone. That was the fourth goal, 2 minutes after half-time. And they were dead and buried by half-time, but they're even more dead and buried now, 4-0 down.
Gilzine. Kinnear and Mullery. Back to Mike England. And now the substitute, Alan Buckley. Moore. Buckley trying a 1-2 there with Moore, and Moore is brought down by Perryman on the edge of that area. Gilzine looks to be in trouble. So Gilzine is hobbling, and it looks as though he's going off for treatment so that the game can get on. So no substitute at the moment, and the Spurs wall now facing this Nottingham Forest free kick. That's the wall that Nottingham Forest, Ian Moore has got to pierce. Perryman, Peters there in it, Beale's in it, and Mullery's in it. They won it back 10 yards, and Martin Chivers, there they are, coming back 10 yards. Chivers there alongside the wall. In fact, that's a deceiving angle. But there's Moore with the kick, and well over. Alan Gilzine, in fact, is getting a tremendous round of applause from the crowd here. He really has become a big favourite here, but his face filled with pain. And Jimmy Pearce now coming on. Now Knowles. Played there for Chivers, and now for Pearce. Is this the chance? Oh, a marvellous goal, and it's given without any doubt at all. The referee, in fact, looked at the linesman. He kept his flag down, and Pearce from the sharpest of angles.
Oh, what a super sub, Jimmy Pearce. What do you know about Jimmy Pearce?
Well, Jimmy Pearce was a very versatile young man. I mean, he could play wide, he could play centre forward. The reason why he couldn't literally get on the side because Jimmy Greaves and Alan Gilzine, Martin Chivers, it was the Jimmy Pearce era. And when he came on, he always did a decent job. I mean, he'd been on seconds there. His first shot, and it's in the back of the net.
Lyons. Oh, and Peters getting it in the end. He looked for a time as though they were playing ducks and drakes with Martin Peters, but he took possession in the end, and now it's with Knowles. The little chip that was aimed in the first place for Chivers and never looked like reaching him, and it's Buckley now for Nottingham Forest. To Ian Moore. Going past Mullery quickly. England coming across to cover. That's a nice-looking little cross there. Beale getting a head to it, though. Robertson turning it back once more. Ian Moore, who really has fought for Forest in this second half, with a shot just over that crossbar. Found a very useful yard of space there, with all the pace in the world, but is shot a yard or so too high. Ian Moore. So a quarter of an hour to go. Spurs 5-0 ahead. Chivers, nicely killed there. Now Perryman. Oh, Perryman and Chivers not reading the way it should have gone. And now it's Mackenzie. Gamely taking on Philip Beale, but finding Mullery's there as well. But now it's Ian Moore. Nice little dummy there by Moore, and Mullery again saving Spurs. But now with Jimmy Pearce. Men ahead of him, Chivers unmarked on the right, Neighbour over on the left. It's the ball to Neighbour. Neighbour just a little too slack and a little too casual there. But Bob Chapman penalised for bundling Neighbour off the ball. A free kick to Spurs. 10 minutes now to go. Bob Chapman, a really harassed defender there, this Nottingham Forest defence this afternoon. And Cyril Knowles to take the free kick for Tottenham. Pearce, Chivers and Peters are the men that he will mostly aim for. And Peters, in fact, Chivers. Now surely someone will have a go. There by Jimmy Pearce. It almost looked as though Spurs had lost their chance.
He's been on 10 minutes, I think, and he scored 2 goals, Bobby.
Yeah,
Remarkable.
he's just gone in there and he's hung about and the ball's just come to him.
And he's taken them very well, too, hasn't he?
Yeah, this one he's a little bit lucky. I think it was Bob Chapman that took the ball off the lad on the line. Otherwise, he might have stopped that one. But, yeah, and great performances for Tottenham. We keep going on about Nottingham Forest, but this is good play by Tottenham. I mean, the quality right throughout the team has been good.
Now, Joe Kenny has just gone off because of injury, Alan, and you're down to 10 men because in those days, 1 sub was allowed.
That was all, Dick, and when you look at it, you know, being 6-0 up, Cyril Knowles is bombed on there, Martin Peters is bombed on. You know, we're definitely not going to lose the game at this stage, and Joe, it was worthwhile Joe going off, you know, so he could play possibly the next game, and this is where we become vulnerable, you know, for probably the only time in the 90 minutes, you know, and Nottingham Forest come back in the game.
It's amazing how the substitute laws have changed. I mean, next year, I think next season we can have 5 subs,
Well, I think people have realised it's entertainment these days, you know, and the fans feel, I think, a little bit cheated if they're if they're watching 11 men, say, against 9, if a couple have been sent off or they're injured. Yeah, I think it's fair. We should always try to keep 11 men on each side.
I mean, there must have been times when you were playing in the 60s when, you know, you were maybe down to 9 men.
Well, it happened quite often, yeah, through injuries more than anything else.
Yeah. I think the other thing that we missed most of all in those days was when the goalkeeper got injured.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the outfield players had to go and play in goal, you know, which was a nightmare for the team because they never had a cut nails Jones after that.
Chivers. To Knowles. Philip Beale. Perryman. Pearce. And Forrest throw. Peter Hindley making a slow and stately progress down that right. Lyons to tuck it back again to Richardson, and now with Ian Moore. Moore taking it up again. And a ricochet there. Buckley, can he get in? No, smothered by Pat Jennings. Good piece of goalkeeping, and Buckley really seems an industrious little player. Now Perryman, nicely placed in the middle of the field, but only 2 Spurs players are up. Chivers and Neighbour. Now it's Chivers. Peters has gone hard into that area, but it wouldn't fall for Spurs, and Forrest get it away once more. It looks as though that Tottenham appetite has been satisfied, and it's Richardson bringing it away again for Nottingham Forest to Ian Moore. Skillfully getting past Knowles, putting it across there, and a goal! And it's scored by the number 6, Richardson. So much of it, though, to the credit of Ian Moore. A really brilliant run by the Forest number 11. Pulled back nicely, and Richardson whacking it in with his head to make it 6-1, and the last kick of the game. That is the final whistle. A brilliant victory by Spurs against surely one of the most inept sides in the First Division, certainly that I've seen.